full spectrum of our future life? Is it written? Can it be predicted? Well, here's the thing. Our future life is being created right here, right now. This is why when the sages and the saints and the rishis, the masters, can look at you and tell your future, it's not that they're reading a code. It's that they're reading you. You are the one who's creating your future. You're co-creating it with your karmic package. So you can't create a future in this lifetime of, say, a female ballerina. Okay? You're male. And even should you go through, a gender change operation, you're a little bit on the advanced age level to go back and to become a, female ballerina. I'm never going to become a superstar basketball player. Right? I mean, the Rishi Kumars might enjoy playing with me if we got a basketball net and we started playing around. But the LA Lakers are never going to invite me to come and play for them. Even if I had a gender change operation, even if I practiced, again, I'm a little bit of advanced age to start that type of thing. I mention these sort of far out examples because when we talk about being able to do anything, it's really not exactly true. It's mostly true. It just has to take into consideration your karmic package. You cannot fly. You are not a bird in this lifetime. If you jump off that building without some sort of motorized contraption or a parachute or with nothing but your naked body, you will plummet to the ground. You are not a bird in this life. So we're creating our life, we're creating our future, along with our karmic package, along with the laws of nature that have already been created, like the law of gravity. But we're the ones creating it. There's no one else creating it. And so if you have the technology, whether it's a technology that you've gotten through meditation and sadhana and enlightenment, an inner technology to be able to see, which is how it's always been done. This is why people go to the gurus and the saints and they say, tell me my future. People ask, does Puja Swamiji read hands? And I would say, he reads hearts. He doesn't have to look at your hand. I mean, sure, if you want him to look at your hand, he will, but he looks at you and he knows. Because they have access to that. Now, is there a way for modern advanced quantum science to replicate what the sages and the saints and the rishis are able to do through meditation? Possibly. I don't doubt that. I don't doubt that if not today, at some point there's going to be a way for outer science to get at what inner science can do. I'm not sure we're there yet. I haven't heard of anybody quite being there yet. But I would, I'm not against the idea that might happen at some point. Science is moving pretty quickly. And this really is a science. There is something they are seeing. There is energy. It's like, for example, if you didn't know about sound waves or frequency, and you stood 15 feet away from a dog, and you blew one of those whistles that humans can't hear, that's a frequency that only the dog can hear, and the dog starts to go crazy. But if you were doing it as a trick for someone who didn't know about frequency and sound waves, they would think it was magic. Absolute magic. There's no sound coming out of that whistle. And you could, you pull their leg. You could say, look, I've trained this dog so well that when I put the whistle in my mouth, even though there's no sound, even you can hold his face facing the other direction. He can't even see me. I've trained him so well. Look at this magic. I put the whistle in my mouth. My dog goes crazy. He's not even looking at me. And if you didn't have access to the science of frequency and sound waves, that really would seem magic. Now, saints and sages and rishis could make the dog, or anybody, could impact that animal in a certain way without the whistle. They don't need the whistle. This is how they live in the jungle. There's all kinds of stories from Puja Swamiji's life, from the lives of so many other saints, of their ability energetically to save their lives, to save the lives of others, whether it's wild elephants, whether it's tigers, whether it's snakes, whatever it may be. Energetically to control or connect with the animals in the world around. Modern science comes in, builds you a special frequency whistle. Gives you an electric gate. No gate is there. There's nothing physical there. You cannot see it. You would walk through it. You'd never feel it. The dog will not cross it. There's something energetic that's there. So I wouldn't be surprised if at some point modern science developed a tool that mimicked. Wouldn't be the same way. In the way where the saints are interacting with the animals, it's energy. Here we actually need the whistle to produce that energy. You have been given free will. You have a karmic package. That karmic package has brought you to this moment. You cannot snap your fingers and be in Moscow right now. You're in Rishikesh right now. If you wanted to be somewhere else in the world, you'd have to get yourself to Delhi. Then you'd have to walk onto an airplane. First you'd get a ticket. You'd walk on the plane. You'd sit on the plane for some number of hours. Then you'd land there. You cannot snap your fingers and make it happen. So your karmic package has brought you to this moment. Who you are in this moment. What your relationships are in this moment. What your inner world and outer world are like in this moment. But what next moment is going to be like? What next week is going to be like? What next month is going to be like? Well, that's in your hands. That depends on what you do in this moment. Get in a car back to Delhi, book yourself a flight to Moscow. Barring any unforeseen circumstances, you're going to be in Moscow pretty soon. But this is where our co-creation plays a role. We think, we plan, we make a decision that says, tonight I could go to the bar or I could come to satsang. That's the power of who we are. Now, it's a beautiful mix. It's not just choice. Obviously, the 95 didn't want to die. They would have chosen to live as well. We don't have time tonight to go into that complex mix, but the point is, no one can predict 100%. If you give a computer, or the CIA, or the KGB, or their computers, the information that you've come down with this illness, they're going to say he's going to die. Why? Because you've got a 95% chance to die. Doesn't mean you're going to die. Means 95 out of 100 people with the illness die. Doesn't mean you will. Because it's not just matter and nature. So the earthquake, yes. Gravity, yes. Fire, yes. Water, yes. Aging, yes. We're all aging. The body is physical. It's going to degenerate. Different rates. There's a lot you can do to stay healthy and strong, but nonetheless, it's degenerating. At a relatively predictable rate. In relatively predictable ways. But who you are, your soul, your spirit, your essence, consciousness, that's not subject to any natural law. That's not subject to any prediction. That's not subject to any percentage rates or probabilities. This is up to you. "100 people get on an airplane. Or 100 people show up at the airport. 2 of them find themselves in India. The other 98 went somewhere else. That was something from within that brought you here. You're using that. You're using that free will. It's going to keep taking you exactly where you need to go. Don't worry about any CIA or KGB or what they can predict. They'll let you know when there's going to be an earthquake. Other than that, just stay on your spiritual path. And the key is developing the power over my free will. So how do I act really out of freedom rather than the way my parents did, the way my habits are, the way that my culture says? That's free will. And that's what we need to use our power for. Yeah, I've smoked every day of my life for the last 35 years, but I'm not going to smoke anymore. That's free will. That's freedom. Harnessing that power. I've been anxious and nervous and depressed and full of my ego for the last 50 years of my life. I'm not going to do it anymore. I'm going to work on seeing the divine wherever I go. I'm going to stay focused on my consciousness, on my soul. I'm going to identify as that. That's freedom. That's the freedom we have.